Hello and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. This is the 2020 edition of Myst. Full real-time 3D reimagining, re-rendering of the original Myst game from 1993. This game, since pretty much everybody knows these solutions to all of the puzzles, somewhere in here, there is a random mode that changes all the lock combinations throughout the game. We're going to go with the classic Myst 1993 version, just because I feel like it.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure, the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, the questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
This is a somewhat unusual book because it's got an image that's moving in it. And it clearly wants me to click that. And it appears that we are on the dock where on that island that the book was showing. And that is really all the introduction we get to the game. And back in 1993, when nobody knew what the game was about, a lot of people just never figured out what you're supposed to do. Now it looks like a button there. We'll come back to this here in a few minutes. But let's just explore the island a little bit first. There's a sunken ship here. There's not an option for never display tutorials. Stop with the tutorials already. I know how to play the game. There's a sunken ship here. And there's this triangular box with a lever switch on it. We can turn the switch on and off. But any expectation that that would raise the sunken ship is doomed for disappointment. If we go up to the right here, there's this large gear on the surface, on this raised platform. It's another one of those switches. That again does nothing. That would be a good place to put a cannon for island defenses. We'll have to get up there later and see if there's a cannon up there we can play with. And we should just follow the path and see what's around here. And there's a note on this rock. Catherine, I've left for you a message of utmost importance in our forechamber beside the dock. Enter the number of marker switches on this island into the imager to retrieve the message. Yours, Atris. So the chamber beside the dock, is that this room here? Or is it something to do with this hatch here? And that's really the only clue that we get so far in the game, is that thing there. A library, and there are books that we can read here, and we will read these books eventually. I'm going to follow what one of my favorite Let's Players, Dylan 3000, does with these, and do them in their own video, so in case you don't like listening to me reading books, you won't have to suffer through it, unlike we did with Obduction. This looks interactive as well, but we will come back to this shortly. Fireplace, and then there's this painting of the exit door, and a painting of a staircase and what may be a bookshelf. Let's save this for now and come back to... Ooh, there's a rocket ship. Let's see if we get into the rocket ship. Another one of these weird switches. Aww. Can't ride the rocket ship. Darn it. But there's a power cord running from somewhere to the rocket ship with a, looks like a circuit breaker. Maybe that fixed it. And I have automatic ladder traversal turned on, just because I've learned from Infra that I'm not good with ladders. So that circuit breaker was not the problem with the rocket ship. Looks like the wire continues in that direction for a bit, but then what's this? There's a sunken model of a ship. And surrounding it are these weird light things. And this part is a lot better in the 3D versions of the game than it was in the old style game, because there's not enough nodes to interact with each of the switches individually. This looks like where the wire from the spaceship is coming from. Let's go down here and see what's down here. Nice ominous music going on. Power to ship, and generator switches. Volt generator? That's bizarre. Power to ship went to 0. I broke something. Hopefully maybe those circuit breakers will let us fix that. But we don't know what power settings we need. And there's too many combinations there to brute force it, so there's probably got to be a password written down somewhere. So, as we have to do with everything else in this game, we're going to table it until we have more information. A clock we can reset. Again, there's so many different times we could set that to. And if it is some sort of a combination, that's going to take it forever to brute force. Here's a tree with a ring around it. So that tree is obviously important for something. A boiler, a painting of the tree on a wooden panel there. And some sort of a safe. Again, with 1,000 codes to go through, that could take a while to brute force that. I think it's a couple hours to do 1,000 combinations. And I'm not going to sit here and go through a couple thousand combinations. Only things left we haven't seen yet are this building here. And that was weird. And it's got some sort of a date input thing. And this works differently than it did in the original. But again, the years... oh, that's the time. Never mind. The year goes up to 9,000 something. So there's a good 10 millennia of different dates to choose from. That's also not something we're going to be able to brute force. There's a gravestone here. And if you're interested in the lore of this, there are 3 companion novels that were sold alongside the game in the Myst series. The opening narration is basically explained in the Book of Atris. Yeah, the first one in that series is the Book of Atris, and explains how the situation came to be. You probably want to play this game first before you get there, but this is the grave of the grandmother of the guy in the opening narration, and that's all we need to know from that. But right now we have some puzzles to deal with and no real context or information to go on, except for that note that we saw over there, and it says enter the number of marker switches into the chamber by the dock. So I think we need to go and explore the chamber by the dock and see if we can learn anything from there. And the door opens without a fuss for the first time. And there's this hologram chamber. Marker switch diagram. What is a marker switch? That was 47. Oh, that's what those things are. Those are marker switches. So we need to enter the number of marker switches on the island into that control panel. There's one here, there's one up top next to the gear. Third one here. There's a fourth by the rocket. Number 5 by the pool. 6 by the power building. 7 by the tree, and if that counts as on the island, that's number 8. So let's go see this message that's hidden in the thing by the dock. Maybe that'll give us some more context and clues, and we can figure out what's going on from there. In today's gaming environment, they try to tutorialize everything and walk you through the whole thing, and back when this thing was new, adventure games were much more vicious, and they expected you to think things through for yourself. Nowadays, some of the more modern adventure games seem to want to do the thinking for you because they don't want people to.
My love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened. It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine, it's one of our sons. I suspect Achenar. But I shouldn't leap to conclusions. I'll find him and Cirrus as well. I should have known not to have left my library unchecked for so long. I've removed the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in the places of protection. You shouldn't have to use the books until I return, but if you've forgotten the access key, remember the tower rotation, and don't worry, Catherine. Everything will be fine. I'll see you shortly. Oh, and erase this message after you've viewed it, just to be safe.
His library, and remember the tower rotation, places of protection. I think our next goal is the library. So he said there are these journals here. We'll read those journals later as we get there. And then there's this odd book here that says to do something with the fireplace. And then there's patterns. And there's like 300 of them. And again, brute forcing that's going to take a while, so I'm just going to assume there's some context needed. And some other stuff necessary to get there. And will be revealed in due course. Like I was saying, adventure games today that I've seen tend to want to spoon feed you everything without making you think. This game is from the earlier era where there was actually a challenge involved. Not to sound too bitter or too retrospective about it, but if we remember Infra, great game, but it was very linear and led you along the path they wanted you to follow. This one does not do much leading or hand-holding. It's a purely exploration-based game, and you explore and you learn stuff as you go. Even Obduction, which has tried to recapture the feel of Myst, has a large amount of linear sections of the game, probably because they're cheaper to build. All right. Rather than exploring the stuff I know will come up later, let's look at these books here. These are clearly linking books like the one we saw earlier, but they appear to be broken. This one is decorated with knives.
Serious? Stop. You. I see you. You must Achenar. Think help me. Bring me pages. Forever and ever. Pages. Have the blue pages. And then to me.
Okay. That was incoherent at best. This one's decorated with some sort of a jewel.
You must help me. Bring me a red page. I can't see. There's one thing I need to be rescued. You must.
I must, huh? Seems a bit demanding. On the other hand, if I'd been stuck in a book for years like that, I might be a bit grumpy too. And there seems to be more stuff on here than the last time we looked at this map. Painting of the island. So I wonder if these marker switches have anything to do with that map, lighting stuff up. So let's turn this one back off and see what's disappeared from the map. See if it is the marker switches. That's what they're marking and switching. Alright, so what's this knob here for? When I point at the gears, it changes color. When I point at the sunken ship, it changes color. When I point at that tree, it changes color. Or the rocket ship, and I hear something moving in the background. So we need to find red and blue pages for the people in the books. And I have a feeling that they're scattered about these. I have a feeling that we need to get into these places of protection in order to find them. But we also have to remember something about a tower rotation, and that's the only tower I see. Is it possible that this map here and this dial have to do with the tower rotation? It doesn't actually say it does. I think in the original it did. But how do we get to the tower? Looks like the back of the library butts up against this mountain. Oops, wrong way. And every other way to get up there seems to be blocked by terrain. So what I want to do is I want to figure out which journal is the first one. And this is a bit of a spoiler going out of order. And the first one is Channelwood. The first one is Channelwood, so we will go in order of the journals here. Channelwood, Stone Ship, Selenitic, and then what's this one? Mechanical? Yep, mechanical. So this is the order we're going to do the ages in, just as a spoiler. So I've still got 5 minutes here, so let's set this thing. It's called Channelwood. So I'm going to guess that maybe it has something to do with that tree. And let's pull this lever under this painting here and see what... tricky, clever, secret passage. And it blocks the entrance. Kind of a security feature. And I'm going to assume that pulling the lever under the painting of the open door will open the door. So we're going to go, and sure enough, there's an elevator here. Eerie music. Walk up, climb this ladder up this platform here, look out, and sure enough, we're pointing at that tree. So that must be important. And there's a plaque here that says this is where the book is. So I'm going to guess it's a linking book, like the other ones we've seen. And the key is 724. And we've seen a 3-digit combination somewhere in the little log cabin next to the in the log cabin next to that tree. So we're going to stop here, and in the next episode we are going to read the journal associated with this CyanWorlds age, and then come back and see if we can find it. Alright, thanks for watching, and tune in next time for the CyanWorlds Journal.